Stacy. How you doing? Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi there, Beth. How are you? I'm so excited to be here and excited about our conversation to come.
Yes, yes, some good stuff we're going to dig into. I think it's really timely too, considering where we're at. It's fall, going into October, going into Thanksgiving and just the Christmas holiday and everything. I think that this is a very good, timely conversation. So I appreciate you coming and joining me.
Great.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about how service beyond real estate builds deeper connections and a stronger business. So we're going to talk about, so you're a realtor in Frederick, and I think you really make a difference in your community, but there's a lot of backstory that we're going to talk to about that. And we're also going to highlight about your volunteer work at a recovery high school and a couple of personal stories that you've got going on. And I believe that it's proof that when we lead with heart, business becomes something more meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if we want to talk a little bit about how you got into real estate, that's always like a fun story to start with.
So I had a couple decades, and it makes me sound really old, in the corporate world. I was an HR director, HR manager, recruiter in the biotech industry. And I did that right out of college, 2006, when my brother passed away from a drug overdose. And at that point, I had two young kids, my husband and I, and I just was like getting burned out. And it was like, I can't give up on my kids. I can't give up on my husband and my family. So I decided to change directions and I took a huge leap of faith and the market crashed shortly after that. But I learned so much. I learned that you couldn't just put a sign in the yard and sell a house. I had to learn how to do short sales and foreclosures. And it honestly was the best career move that I ever made. And my husband and I had owned some investment properties, and that's what got me. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but we thought if one of us get a real estate license, that would help with our future investment plans. And so that's how I got into real estate.
That's funny. Yeah, I kind of got into real estate around the same time. So we experienced pre-crash and then right after the crash together. So that definitely was an interesting time to get into the business for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. And that's why I think when I talk to, people getting in now, we're going through a really just a strange market. It's not a crash kind of market. It's just a different market. I think there's opportunity whenever you get in.
Oh, sure, for sure. I think it's, yep, it's there. Yeah, it's definitely a different animal,
Yep.
different than a lot of other things out there. So, if you want to share a little bit about the impact of your brother's passing, I know that you said that you quit your job and got into real estate. I'm sure that was a big thing that happened.
Absolutely. Kind of backing up a little bit from that, I had lost another brother in a car accident in 1989. And he was 23 and he was 15 months younger than me. So we were very close. So our family had been through a lot. And then Sean uh, was 38 years old, was had a successful career, had three kids, but just got really, unfortunately, involved in drugs. And he was involved in drugs when he was young. It was just his addictive personality. His passing was just another like really, really hard thing. I had two siblings and now I had, no living siblings. And the idea that it was a drug overdose and there was such a stigma attached to it at the time, my family even decided that they were going to say that he died of an asthma attack. But shortly after that, I was like, this can't be. We have to help other people. We have to have people realize that this happens. This crosses all barriers, and this can happen to any family. It was awful. It was awful, and it's still awful. And that was in 2006, and it's I think 10 times more awful now. There's so many more young people overdosing, and I think we do have a little bit more recognition that this can happen to anybody, but it's just a tough, tough thing to experience.
Yeah, and I'm sure, that stigma unfortunately still exists, but I think that there is a lot more acceptance of the way things are and the way addiction is. It's not a choice, unfortunately. So I think going through that and deciding to say, hey, this is what happened. I'm putting the story out there so I can help other people, I'm sure it was a great decision, but I'm sure it was kind of brave, and I'm sure that it was tough for your family to make that decision and, like, get behind you on that. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what drew you to volunteer at the Recovery High School? And if you also just want to give us a little bit of information about what the Recovery High School
Sure,
is. Yeah.
sure. So, I've always been a community service kind of person at heart. Like I want to give back. I've always been involved with Trees for Tots, just different, whatever in our community that was there. I wanted to be part of that. I have done many things with my granddaughters. So I have to share that I have three amazing granddaughters that are 11, 10, and 2,
Nice.
two wonderful children, and a great daughter-in-law. And our family as a whole has always been involved in giving back. And my mom passed away in 2018 from Alzheimer's, and I Alzheimer's Association. I didn't find that that was like really where I fit. And I think that's so important when you're looking for some place to volunteer, that you find something that works for you, because there are so many charities out there and everybody needs your help. But it just wasn't, I mean, it was great. And, I had so much support from the community that was helping me. But all of a sudden, 2018-19 period, my husband and I were building a house and we went to a furniture store and I met this guy that was our sales rep and he told me that he was involved in a nonprofit. And I'm like, I love nonprofits. I love charities. Like what? And then he told me that he was in recovery and that he had been facing many years in prison and he got out and he was working with a couple other people to start a recovery high school. And I'm like, what's a recovery high school? Our school is called the Phoenix Recovery Academy. I learned about it. I got involved on the community level, and now I am the vice president of the board. Last night, I was just voted to be the president of the board starting in January. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. No, I'm very excited about it. But so basically, we are a high school located in Frederick, Maryland. We are the only recovery high school in Maryland, and we serve students that either have come from a public school and have had like a drug problem and gone into maybe a treatment center, or have just come directly to us from some other venue place. As long as someone follows all of the rules as far as, we drug test and they have to be sober to come to our school. So we currently have 10 students, which might not sound like a lot, but we've graduated 6 students. We opened in 2020 during COVID in person, and it's been life-changing for the students that we have there. And to see that is just something that I can't even describe. I think back all the time. Yes, I got involved with this because of my brother Sean, but I think back, and if there had been some school like this that my parents were aware of back when he was in high school, I just have to believe that, there might be a chance that he'd still be alive today. So watching these kids make great, great decisions, and I kind of equate it to if an adult goes into rehab, they're advised, strongly advised, don't go back and hang out at the bar with the people that you were doing, things that weren't good for you. But with our kids, they come out of rehab and they go back with their same peers. So by having a school like the Phoenix School, we have, we're an accredited school where they get all of their high school courses. We have several kids that have gone to college, the trades, just like any other high school, but they're with people that are dealing with the same things that they're dealing with. And they're getting support and they're not looked at like you're, you're abnormal, you're a freak, you're this, because they're they're just they're just kids and they're just trying to do the right thing. And we do have kids that slip up. So, we do have relapses. We have kids that go back to treatment, kids that maybe the school is not good for them. There's lots of different things. And we have a great staff that works with them. We have peer advisors. I'm very excited to say that just a month ago, we had a student that graduated 2 years ago and he went out and got his peer recovery specialist license. He's the youngest certified peer recovery specialist in Maryland, and we've hired him back as our peer recovery. So he's working with all these kids, and he was there, like he was in that school, and
Mm.
he knows the good, the bad, the ugly, addiction and the school. And just to see his journey, see him when he first got there and then see him now, just every time I see him, I just give him a hug and just tell him how proud.
That is so good.
Really good.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. So we wanted to talk about another topic that is near and dear to your heart. And if you want to talk a little bit about your husband and, how that's impacted you as well.
Okay, so in 2023, my husband and I were traveling in the beginning of the year, January, February. We got home and he wasn't feeling well. Around March 15th of 2023, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and he was 58. And I guess, didn't really, I think I had blinders on. Our focus was we have to get him better. And unfortunately, he fought and fought, but he didn't have a long time to fight. He was stage 4 when he was diagnosed, which is very common with pancreatic cancer. And on June 30th, just 2.5 months later, he passed away. So we were married for 33 years, and he's the love of my life. He was just an amazing, amazing man. He was also in the real estate realm. He was a real estate investor and he flipped houses. And we worked very closely together, along with my son, who's also a realtor. And he was a wonderful father to my son, Michael, to my daughter, Emily, and to my 3 granddaughters or our daughter-in-law. So he was just, yeah, he was just a great, great person. Although I don't really volunteer in the cancer realm of things, we did start a nonprofit for him called Be Like Bob, and we had a big fundraiser last year that we did give money back to a cancer charity. We are going to roll the Be Like Bob nonprofit into the Phoenix School as one of their. It's just too much for my son and I to manage, and we don't want it to end, but we're going to move it over there to keep his memory alive. So it's just another way of giving back and volunteering, but also keeping it within something that I'm very passionate about, which is the school. And my kids are very passionate about it. And my grandkids, they all are aware of like what that school does. They Even my young granddaughters have met several students there, graduates there, because from being at golf tournaments and stuff. And I think it's so important to share that with everybody so that everybody understands, like really gets a better idea of what addiction is all about.
Yeah, I think that yeah, education is so important. Yeah, for sure. So I feel like there's another caveat to that, and it has to do with Bigfoot. Right.
So, yeah, we might as well talk about Bigfoot real quick. My husband believed in Bigfoot, and I'm not just saying like a joke, whatever. He literally believed Bigfoot was real, and him and my daughter were someday going to go out west and find Bigfoot. I look out my window. We have a 6-foot Bigfoot in our backyard. We have It became larger than life, if you will, when he passed away, because so many people just wanted to do nice things for our family. I mean, the Bigfoot memorabilia that still comes to my house all the time, or would say that not 2 or 3 days pass by that I don't get a text that somebody's like, "Look, he's here!" Or like they'll see it on a car, or they'll see it driving down the road. Um, I A great experience back in Arizona in April or May. I went to a Buffini conference and I got to stand up and talk to Brian Buffini and one of his speakers, Dr. John. And I was asking a question about being anxious and living this new life of mine. And before I had a chance to say anything, they stopped me and Dr. John said, "Tell me something about Bob." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's all these people here." And I said he believed in Bigfoot. So that just grew the whole Bigfoot thing even more because I was at a conference last week and somebody introduced me and they said, "Oh, this is the Bigfoot lady." So it's just become every single one of our family, well, not the little kid girls, but everybody else has a Bigfoot tattoo. I have one on my back. And it's just a way to keep Bob's memory alive.
I love it. I love it. So I think I messaged you. Did you see that iPhone commercial I was telling you about?
I didn't.
You're gonna have to Google it.
Okay.
So it's iPhone commercial. Bigfoot's out in the woods. It's nighttime, and there's this little stump that has an iPhone on it. Everybody's sleeping. So Bigfoot walks into the campsite, picks up the iPhone, takes his finger, and erases himself in the picture.
Love it. I'll have to look for that. I
It's
have
really
not
good.
seen that. Yeah,
Really good.
I'll look for that. Thanks for
And of
sharing
course, I
that.
thought of you when I saw it.
Thanks.
Um,
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're talking about volunteering a little bit. Well, I'm sure that there's so much impact that you've seen, not only with yourself, but just different things that you've gotten involved with different people and at the school and different walks. I know that you've had a lot of that. So it's not all about real estate. It actually naturally creates connection with people. And you were talking about connections a little bit about how it has to be a connection that you can really get into and have that right fit.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so tell me some of the things that you've been involved with that like if there's somebody out there that has, some type of cause that's near and dear to their heart or just kind of wants to get more involved. What would be some suggestions that you would give them?
So, excuse me, I believe that everybody should volunteer in some way, shape, or form. I think we all owe it to our society, to our community to give back. Um, Sometimes it's not easy to find what you're passionate about. So I just recommend trying different things. I've done Toys for Tots. I've done small little, just hearing about things in our community that a child might need clothes or shoes. My husband and I were frequently like running to Walmart or somewhere and picking up those items and delivering them to whatever charity that was there. Getting involved at the level that I'm involved in now with the school, so it's been really life changing for me. So I'm doing something that I'm very passionate about, and I could do it every day. Like I love doing it. Sorry, I don't know what's in my throat.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, take a sip. I'll take a sip too. I'll take a sip for you. Need some more coffee, iced coffee in my life. Oh, I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay. So I think that, being passionate about what you do, having it just fit into your life as something that you want to do and you feel good about, then, you know, we're all out there. We need to work, we want to build our businesses. Just as passionate about real estate as I am about volunteering, but I found a way to combine them because it just comes naturally that if you're working with people in whatever aspect, if you're volunteering, if you're out in the community, and people like you and trust you, of course they're going to want to, when they're trying to buy or sell their house or refer somebody, they're going to do that with you. And I've benefited from that, from being part of the Phoenix Foundation, just like organically. So I've been able to grow my business by volunteering and without that being the purpose. I'm not setting out to donate money to the Phoenix Foundation or donate money here or volunteer my time to get business, but it's just come about naturally. And it's been like something that just really, really, really fills my heart. I'm very much a person that likes to connect with people. I like to be in a community. I like being well known for different things like that. And I've had the privilege of receiving like multiple awards, like from Frederick County Association of Realtors for Community Service Award, Community Activist Award. We have something here in Frederick called the Do Gooder Award,
Mhm.
and I was nominated and not able, but I was awarded that award for a business person. So kind of combination, like, I'm a business person that's doing good in the community, and that's kind of my niche. Like I do all my business by referral. And I'll go places. I honestly was getting my hair cut this morning and I met a woman who was like, "Oh my gosh, I just looked up the Phoenix School, was told that I need to have a meeting with them." And I'm like, "Well, let's set that up." And we had all these different connections and we had connections. Also has a full-time job, but she's starting some type of like mentoring that she thought would fit in well with the school. I mean, now she's like, "Oh, and my mom might want to move." There's just things that this all come together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too with volunteering, it can be hard because, especially considering, our occupation, that we're busy and, we work when people don't work. We work nights, we work weekends, sometimes we just work, right? So
All the
it's
time.
like so I guess it's good to remember that, you don't have to volunteer 30 hours a week.
No, no.
You can, in whatever capacity you can get involved, whether it's donating a backpack to the community, to the schools, or you can donate your time or community cleanups or whatever, like you said, like might fill your heart,
Mhm.
might be something that you really are passionate about. or you want to help out a friend or a community member because they need it. So it's important to know that you can involve yourself as much or as little as you can or need to. And sometimes we have to say no to things that don't work out in our time frame, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out there and still do as much as you can whenever you can, and without worrying that because once you get involved, people are like, oh, you could do this, you could do this, but sometimes we have to say no, and we can't say yes to everything, but it still stay in there and find that that different just type of thing that fills your heart up as you're serving other people.
Absolutely. And I think, for me, having had a lot of grief in my life and, feeling those, going through those phases in my life, this has been really something that has helped me. It's helped me to help other people. So I definitely love to give back. And like you said, sometimes you have to say no. I have a hard time saying no, but I've, gotten a little bit better because I think it's important to focus on one or two things so that you can make an impact. But everybody's different. Giving back also, when I go on listing presentations with, with potential sellers, I always have something in my listing presentation about giving back. And you would be amazed at how many people, like, I'll talk about, it's just a brief little thing about, some of the organizations that I've worked with, and you'd be amazed at like how many people like go, oh my gosh, my brother, you know, it has an addiction problem, or this person in my family passed away, or, my mom has Alzheimer's. And the people like to connect with people that they have similar situations. And I don't mean like, it's sad. It is sad, and they don't always want something sad, but they like that, okay, I'm going to be working with somebody that is going to take care of me and serve me well, but they're also serving their community.
Yeah, and they kind of know where you're coming from and know what you're going through. It can be scary and fearful going into something that you're going through like that, and having somebody there that kind of understands like where you've been and like where you're going, because they've already been there, they've gone through it, and you see that somebody's come out on the other side
Yes.
is less makes your situation a little less scary.
And I think they respect me for that, and they respect like that, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's not where I wanna be, but I'm okay, and I'm here to help you, and I don't know, I think I'm a pretty genuine person. I'm a very straightforward and transparent person, so it's not like I don't sit there and cry at their kitchen table or make them feel uncomfortable. I do everything to make sure people don't feel uncomfortable, but it is part of my story, and I think my story, however that travels, is makes me a respected person, and people
Yeah.
wanna do work with me, people wanna help volunteer, that type of thing.
Yeah, and I think it is great because we all are people and we all do have a story. So sharing that, I think, is good, because I think when we work, well, I know when we work with our clients, we get to know them on a completely different level, so sharing a bit of ourselves, I think, is helpful as well.
Best thing in my life is family, like most of us. I have taught like my grandchildren, and my kids have taught their kids that giving back is very important. So one of the things I think we did last year, and the girls want to do it again, is my two older granddaughters have learned so much about giving back. And so they came up with the idea that, you see so many homeless people on the street when you're at stop signs and that kind of thing. And instead of just giving them a dollar or two, they know that their dad always does that, always had like money in his little, console, and he always felt very impacted to, or, to give. And so last year we put together these bags. I actually put something out on social media and said, hey, we're going to be putting bags together for the homeless. And we basically just took like a really large Ziploc bag, like some juice in there, some water in there, tissues, gloves, socks, granola bars, and then a couple dollars. And we had them in the car so that whenever we went by, we could hand them to people, and we gave them out to some other people to have in their cars. And it was just it was a cool thing. It was very cool. The people were very grateful to receive those, and I think showing my my grandkids that this is what we do, this is how we give back, then I think it's just very important to me. I know I always have a funny story about my middle granddaughter when she was pretty little, and it was like the day after Christmas. Is it's time to clean out these toys. We got all these new toys, and we need to give them to somebody else that can use them. And she was probably like 5, and she said, "Well, I don't want to give away my toys." And she's like, "Well, we have to. Like, how do you think that other, kids that are less fortunate, get toys?" And she said, "Well, we get them from," and this is another whole story, but they get them from Stace, which is what my older 2 granddaughters call me, and from our Toys for Tot collection. And I thought that was just the cutest thing. And I mean, they go shopping with me for Toys for Tots every year, and they're not afraid to call my dad or somebody else and say, "Hey, can you give us some money to put towards our Toys for Tot collection?" And they're very good at distributing it into the boxes and making sure they've even been there when Toys for Tots comes and picks it up. So I just think all that stuff is important, but I think it's fun too. You can make it really fun.
Absolutely. No, I think this has been great. And I think that a lot of people will get a lot of inspiration, over the holidays and, how they can pitch in. And
Okay.
I'm sure you can give me some details. You can send me an email with whatever, like if I can give that link, if you have any links or
Absolutely.
information out for people to get
Absolutely.
involved and
And also really important, like the Phoenix School, we're not just serving kids here in Frederick, Maryland. We have kids that come from all over because the next closest school is located in Frederick, Maryland, but we serve people from all over because the next closest recovery high school is in Philadelphia. I think there's maybe like, and I'm gonna have my numbers wrong, but there's maybe like 40 of them in the whole country, maybe less than that. And so we've had one mom moved here from Delaware and just got a new job, and so that her child could go to the school. We also have a bus that we've set up hubs, so different counties throughout Maryland. So we have people coming from Baltimore and Anne Arundel County and Washington County. So it's a very like it's a needed thing. We need more, but people that are interested and might want more information on that, please reach out.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today and
Thank you for
for
having me. I really, really, really appreciate it.
yeah, and just sharing a lot about volunteering and just your whole story. And I really appreciate you sharing that with everybody. And I'm sure you're going to touch a lot of lives with this interview and just people learning how to, volunteer, reach out, to help, reach out for help if they need it,
Yeah.
and just all the things. So I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.